Well, hello there, my dear children of the apocalypse. How are we doing today? Welcome back to War Thunder, and welcome to the game mode that everybody knows and everybody hates. Battle Royale. Oof, now I know I've opened a can of worms with this because it's what it is. I think this is a new age trend where every game, whether it's a standalone AAA title or an online multiplayer adventure, I'm just waiting, to be completely honest, for a freaking Battle Royale in Mario Kart. But I digress. I wanted to first and foremost give kudos to Gaijin, not for doing this event, but for doing events in general, right? I do appreciate the effort of creating something that people can engage in. The event itself, to join it, you have to buy a tornado ticket, or should I say you had to buy a tornado ticket, as this event is no longer in the game. Obviously, I'm always late with my content, so you're probably watching this the weekend after the event is already closed. But you had to purchase a ticket for, I believe it was 70,000 silver lions, which isn't that cheap, to be fair, and you get 10 attempts. And it's not really 10 attempts, because you can only lose 3 times, and losing is anything that isn't winning. And in the Battle Royale game mode, only one person per battle wins, right? Because everybody else dies. So it's a bit hair-pulling, really. The other ticket is 150 golden eagles, which of course was the main way to get a little bit of money. Anyway, this exact same event, where you had to purchase a ticket to be able to participate, was last used in November of 2017. And it was the tournament that I got myself, the E100. That tournament, to this day, was the most fun 20 matches I've ever had in the game, ever. And it was just 20 matches, because unfortunately, only one ticket could be purchased by a player, and that was it. One ticket allowed you to play 20 games, and that was all that I got. In fact, the event was so good that I ended up playing it in arcade as well to get the additional 20 matches. It was so good that even in arcade, it was still good. And I kind of regret not even going into Sim, having a test at that too, because in total that's 60 matches, which isn't a lot. 60 matches is like, what, 1.5 upgrades in your stock tier 6 tank? Yeah, we get it. The reality is that if that event still existed as an event or as a permanent game mode, or, I had a lot of ideas of what they could have done with it, but quite easily what it could have been is a game mode that you can play, let's say, limited matches per day. Say you can only play 10 games a day, but those 10 games a day are ranked. And so at the end of the month, you could actually see where you rank compared to other people. Anyway, the event never came back. Nothing similar ever came back. The game mode itself, I don't have any footage of it. I might actually steal some from another content creator and put the link in the description, because that's the best I can do. But the game mode was 5 versus 5, random teams, which means there was no squads. You couldn't cooperate. You were put into a random team and you had to work with a random team. That's what I loved. I love the fact that here, if you wanted to solo carry, you could solo carry. If you wanted to use teamwork, you had to be a bit... Let's just say that I think it teaches you a lot more about communication without you actually needing communication. As you know me as a player, I have my in-game sound turned off, I have my chat turned off, I listen to music when I play the game. There's a lot of things that I guess I put myself into a disadvantage for. But it's because I like to play the game from its ground perspective, right? The base layer. And when I'm watching these tournaments, recently the Thunder League finals, or I should call them, I call it Budget Thunder League, because obviously Thunder League for me is something else. But Spitfire and Mystic have been doing a fantastic time commentating, casting over these matches. And yet, when I look at these games, and I look at the stream itself, and I look at what the tournament is, it attracts me as a content creator, as a commentator. But as a player, I don't... It's because I can't play it, you see? Because I'm too shit at communicating with other people to be able to sit there in a 6 or 7 team game with a bunch of other people on comms and actually do a half-decent job. Now, yeah, we played the YouTube Cup recently, and I think that communication was pretty decent, but again, it was more, should I call, bantery or, having a bit of fun. It wasn't necessarily try-hard. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that I would love to play tournaments, but not under the rules and the stipulations that most tournaments are based on. I don't want to bother putting together a team. I don't want to bother making sure everybody has their mic and everybody's, do practice rounds or whatnot. For me, the best kind of tournament would be a tournament that tests your ability of playing the game as it is, right? Because all of us, we play ground or air RB for the most part. And as that is our main game mode, why should the tournament be any different? I think the main issue why most people don't ever try tournaments is because they're completely different. Suddenly there's a spotting system. Suddenly there's a limited amount of spawns you can have and a limited amount of certain vehicles. Like there's certain, say, 5 heavy tank spawns that a team has and 5 fighter spawns. All these things are entirely different from what you would encounter in a normal RB match. And that's why most players have a hard time not just actually playing tournaments, but just watching them. And I think that, yeah, somebody who's used to playing ground RB and not having markers, now joining into a live stream where supposedly professional players are using the same vehicles he uses on a daily basis, but in a wannabe tournament where there's markers, this person's going to think, oh, that's easy, you know, market, wow, these players are not even that good. And I think it devalues, in their eyes, it devalues these players, it devalues the tournament, and we have the exact same problem right here. This is the Battle Royale. It's what I expected from this game mode was obviously it's going to be bad because it's Battle Royale, but there's markers. I don't understand why. The reason why everybody goes into RB, why people love ground RB, is exactly because there's no markers. I personally had a hiatus from Air RB. I stopped playing Air RB for a really long time because I was being focused. People spotted my name and they were like, oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to shoot down orange. In ground RB, I didn't have this problem because there was never a name above my plane, never a name above my tank. They wouldn't know they've shot me until they've either shot me or they've been shot by me. And that was why I loved ground RB for the longest time. So going into, you know, from one game mode to an event that supposedly has the same game mode rules and yet it doesn't, I don't understand. And this isn't the first time this happened. In fact, I think that tournament that we did play, the 5v5 that I keep raving about, did also have markers. Now, in that case, it was a 5 versus 5. It was an actual team. And it kind of, in a lot of cases, I can have a video made in itself, if you're interested, as to why having markers in the tournament is actually a good idea. But in a Battle Royale game, you know, the last thing I want to know where I'm trying to survive is where all the enemies are. So it's no wonder that most games of Battle Royale are spent camping. You're just going to sit in the same spot for as long as possible because that's the only way to reliably win. You don't get any bonus points for getting a load of kills. And you're not guaranteed a win, even if you shoot 10 different tanks. In fact, the rewards from this Battle Royale mode are ridiculously low. Even being in second place yields you with practically nothing. One would expect that by being in the top 10, you'd be able to get back the silver lions that you invested into buying the ticket. Let's not talk about the 150 golden eagles that you'll never get back if you bought the elite ticket. And the reward, the elusive actual reward that this tournament offers is a skin. It's a beautiful skin for, I believe, the T80U, and it might also be there for the MiG-19, or maybe it's two of the planes, it could be the T2. I don't know. Anyway, the skins look fantastic, but the requirements to win one of these skins is to have 5 victories in a row. Right, well that's what Gaijin tells you. So the reality is that the statistical chance of you getting 5 wins in a row in a game mode like this is slim to none. But then the box that you're getting, because you're not unlocking the skin, you're unlocking a box, right? One of those loot. This is also trendy, same way as Battle Royale game modes are trendy. It's to have loot boxes. And the loot box you're going to open, it doesn't have a 100% chance of containing one of those skins. It could contain, just silver lions or some kind of crap. So this is exactly what my issue is that going through all this effort for what? For a chance to win something that might be what you're looking to. It makes no sense, honestly. If you wanted to make this event fun, if you wanted to make this event what it's supposed to be, because I think Battle Royale should be more relaxing. Those skins should be available, all year round. The tournament that I played, the 5 versus 5, that was a more difficult one because you had only 20 matches you could play. You were actually limited in the amount of games. That meant you actually had to give it your best. Here, here the question is just how many of those tornado tickets you're going to buy. And the more you buy, the more chances you have at winning. Of course, winning a box, which may contain the item you might want to get. So your chances are, yeah, you might as well buy a lottery ticket if you're at it. And this isn't it. It's also the fact that it's entirely possible that you're going to use up those 3 losses on the ticket before your matches have even finished, which means you can't actually join any additional games, even though you have purchased another ticket, because those games have ended. And yeah, it's funny because the game will prompt you to buy the Golden Eagle ticket, but it still won't let you join because those 3 games from the last tickets have still not finished. It's a ludicrous system. I do not understand it. It makes no sense why a ticket would cost 70,000 silver lions that you're never going to get back unless you're the best camper in the game, essentially. But it's also not all about camping. Obviously, camping will keep you alive for the first 90% of the match, but then as soon as the map starts to shrink into a very, very tight, contained area, you're going to find yourself in, for example, a 1 versus 3, like I did here. And what are you supposed to do in a 1 versus 3? Well, suddenly it's all about your angling, about your positioning, about your understanding. This is where the spotting system makes sense. This is where I can say for certain that the spotting system definitely kind of helped me out. But it also didn't help me out that I'm sort of an arrogant player, and I don't like camping. I don't like sitting there for minutes on end, just waiting, who's going to go first. So I pushed and I died. And, oh no, I'm second. What do I get as a reward? Yeah, nothing. That's nothing at all. And really, the rewards are not even the worst part of it. The worst part is the actual spawn system, because you're spawning in a random location, facing a random way, and it can happen that you just happen to spawn facing the enemy, or you spawn not facing the enemy and the enemy's behind you. These are all possible outcomes. Yeah, needless to say, it ends exactly like you thought it ends. One of you is going to die. And then there's this feature with an artillery system, which I still don't understand. Are you supposed to collect one of those upgradables that's randomly positioned on the map or whatever? But it's like a giant artillery circle that it's just an RNG mess, I'm already against artillery in regular matches. Most tournament players are against artillery in tournament matches, but this is like an upgraded version of a fuck you, so it's not enjoyable. Oh, look, I'm second. What do I get? Yeah, that's right, nothing. I honestly think it would take me 100 of these matches just to get 1 win. And you can do the math, 100 matches at 3 losses in a row, which you're always going to get until you win. That's like 700,000 plus in silver lions, which you could probably spend on, I don't know, crew training a tier 6 tank. Now, I know this video is supposed to be almost entirely about Battle Royale, but I think the interest rate at this point has dropped down since you've seen what the Battle Royale in game mode in War Thunder actually looks like. So I'd like to raise a different point. There was an event that I haven't seen anyone talk about, and I only have 1 match to show you, but it's an event that everybody's been asking for a very long time. And I feel like if this is not mentioned, it will never come back again, or at least it will never come back again improved. It's the tank-only event. People have been asking for this for months, and I think it's a brilliant idea. I understand some people don't care about SPA. They don't care about close air support, or rather, they hate getting killed by close air support. And it would also be a great competitive game mode to sort of, compete with World of Tanks, as World of Tanks is kind of that, if you ignore the artillery they have. Now, the game mode that they added, again, I'm going off on a limb here from my memory, but it was top tiers. It was top tiers, and I believe the match I played was on Ash River, which is a great map, in my opinion. Perhaps not the best map for top tier tanks, but it's passable. I think it's one of those maps that you can pull it off. It wasn't that well made because of the vehicles that were chosen to play in it. But, if you make an event like this, I think all you have to do is choose the OG maps. Jungle, Ash River, Karelia, the small Eastern Europe, the maps that started the game. And add the tanks that are most popularly played by people. Things like the T-34, things like the Tiger H. Things that people have a fun time playing regardless of their skill level. I think those tanks are always fun and engaging. So something like that I would love to see actually put into the game, because I think it would be a brilliant amount of fun. I'm going to end this video on the same thought that I started it, and that's that it's great for Gaijin to be doing all these events, right? Because variety is fantastic. But unfortunately, I have a feeling that nothing's being worked on here. Events that make a return are either the same or they're worse. And I don't think there needs to be much development time spent on events. You just have to make it, run it for a week or a weekend, and then collect feedback, actively develop it, and the next time round, adjust those things that people want to see changed. And if you do this, in a matter of half a year, you can have 5 or 10 different events that you could be running on a weekly, bi-weekly, or a monthly basis that players will gladly join. Now I'm getting a phone call, so hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again in the next one.